Black Massacres. Now, various people posted this on Twitter commemorating the anniversary of the Tulsa massacre of Black Wall Street. Now, I keep saying that when black people got out of slavery, that's when we started getting attacked. And lo and behold, look at the dates. All of them are under the free system, which is supposedly better than slavery. People seem to not realize that property is valuable and a business owner will protect his or her property, but if that's not your property anymore, who cares? Not my problem, and these racist, bigoted people took advantage of that. I'm not saying slavery did not have its problems, but they're exaggerating about the problems. Just like how they exaggerate about black people's history and culture, saying that we're inferior, we're uncivilized, we have no significant history to speak of. I mean, what's up with that, right? And these same people are denouncing slavery. So if you believe both of them, if you believe the narrative of slavery, then you must believe their narrative about black people being inferior, uncivilized, and having no significant history to speak of. So that's a dilemma, isn't it? And you can't trust unworthy people, especially those racist people that are pretty much dictating our history. So during the time of slavery in the South, you could imagine what they were doing to black people in the North. The so-called free system, the freedom to attack black people and get away with it. There were sundown towns, nasty laws against black people. Black people had tough time voting, tough time being educated, etc.
Many of the northern states, which had abolished slavery very gradually, should add, many of the northern states did not let blacks go to school, did not let blacks vote. Several of the Midwestern states would not even let blacks relocate within the state. Iowa, in the middle of the Civil War, has a Black Exclusion Act. Clearly, the northern attitude toward blacks is not. It doesn't have it. It's not taking really the high ground.
What's the Iowa Black Exclusion Act? What was that?
Because in the 1860s, it was to say that blacks could not settle in the state.
Oh, exclusion in that sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's hard to make the case that the North was fighting a crusade of freedom there.
No, I mean, you had inability to vote in almost just about all the states. Schools which educated a black student would be closed in the northern states. You know, in the state of New York, if you were a free black, you could vote as could a white, except a white could vote without paying. A free black had to have property worth at least $200 to vote. So you have a number of very systematic differences in their treatment.
So that was Stanley Ingerman from Time and Across. He's one of the writers on Time and Across, which was a controversial book. Is a controversial book because it shows slavery in a different light than what we're told. So obviously it came under attack. It's the same thing as the slave narratives, right? The slave narratives, which is mostly positive, comes under attack by Caucasian historians, because they want to maintain this narrative that slavery was the worst thing ever, and it really wasn't. Because, like, think about it, slavery was around for such a long time. All of a sudden, it's just a bad thing, and that's because I keep on saying the Protestant Reformation was a New World Order, and when a New World Order comes in, they try to change things over time. Slavery wasn't easy to get rid of once they got their New World Order, but over time, they definitely wanted to get rid of it. And we know that the North had slavery. And once Caucasians took over, they started getting rid of it because they didn't like it. If you really understand the history, they did not like slavery because it was a disciplined system. Because I keep on telling you, Black Wall Street, if Black Wall Street was a slave community and they did that, Caucasians did that, all of them would have been rounded up and executed. Because they destroyed a massive amount of property. The slaves were property. You think that it's a business. The slave owners are not going to let them get away with that. Even if a slave went to the market and got lynched, the slave owner is going to get involved and find out who did this and make sure that person gets their comeuppance. But in the free system, you could attack black people. You could destroy their homes and get away with it. So that's what really freedom was, to actually attack black people or do whatever they want because it was their system. And which they manipulated, because there was, during the Middle Ages or during the time of slavery, there was a slave and free system. But the thing is that the reason why it was around for so long is because when you get out of slavery, you're supposed to be a civilized individual, right? These Caucasians, they wanted to bypass that And then, yes, you'll have some civilized Caucasians, but you'll also have uncivilized Caucasians that are getting into positions of power that they shouldn't be getting into and causing a whole bunch of problems. So slavery mitigated that. So that's why in the South, Caucasians and Negroes got along a lot better in the South than they did in the North. The North was clearly a white supremacist society. Okay, these are the same people that wanted to have the Western territories to be all white and all free. They didn't want black people there at all. Okay, this is from the North. The North was very antagonistic towards black people, and most historians know this. But they just try to ignore it and then say, oh, the South this, the South that. So you have a bigoted racist society talking about the South that they don't like. They're talking about black people, history and culture, black people that they don't like. They're talking about their history and culture, and we're supposed to believe what they say. That's why I'm saying there's a lot of misinformation about slavery. It did have its problems, but they're totally exaggerating about slavery. It's like literally a Twilight Zone episode. Oh, black people are working from sun up to sundown, no pay, constantly being beaten for whatever reason. Their women are constantly being raped. Their families are constantly being taken away from them. Oh, it's a Twilight Zone episode. That's ridiculous. There's no way that black people would tolerate that kind of nonsense. But this is what they say all the time.